New developments in the controversial arrest of Donald Neely by Galveston Mounted Patrol officers. Remember this? The city of Galveston is now asking the Texas Attorney General to stop the release of the officer's body cam video. However, Adam Bennett talks to Neely's attorney, who believes the law allows for the footage to be released.
A City of Galveston spokesperson told me today that they cannot legally release that video because there is still an ongoing investigation. But she did say there is a law enforcement related exception, a bar that Neely's criminal defense attorney believes this situation clears.
The cell phone images have been seen around the world, but the defense attorney representing Donald Neely on that criminal trespassing charge,
they could release the body cams,
wants the public to see Neely's controversial arrest from the officer's perspective.
I'm not surprised that this has all been what I believe to be an effort to hide the transparency they were asking for.
Melissa Morris has seen the body camera footage, but state law won't let her talk about it. A City of Galveston spokesperson says state law also won't let the city release the footage publicly because of the ongoing investigation. There is an exception if that video release serves a law enforcement purpose, like deterring crime. The city spokesperson believes Neely's arrest doesn't check that box, but Morris disagrees.
A law enforcement purpose would always be transparency and relationship with the community, to ensure transparency, to ensure trust.
They were using tools they were provided.
During a town hall meeting shortly after Neely's arrest, Police Chief Vernon Hale said he would review the department's policy. But after requesting a copy of the Mounted Patrol policy, KHOU learned there is no policy on the books. A city spokesperson said it was still being drafted because the Mounted Patrol was recently expanded. She says the Galveston Mounted police officers involved in Neely's arrest learned that rope technique during 40 hours of training.
And now that further inquiry is being made, now there's more excuses as to where this policy is, or whether it existed, or whether it was just being constructed. And so I think that everybody needs to be concerned about how things are being handled.
Now, a spokesperson for Neely's civil case attorney told me that they are still planning a march in Galveston on September 15th, where they'll once again be calling for that body camera footage to be made public. Adam Bennett, KHOU 11 News.